Yeah.
Awesome.
Sweet.
Well, how have you been?
Pretty good. Pretty good. We've had a little bit of sickness going through the house this month. It always seems to happen with our family in December, right before Christmas. But had a bit of an off week myself. I felt like some things were starting to get to me a little bit. I had to skip a day or two of running, but got to be back at it this morning. Felt really good. So I'm glad about that.
That's right. Are you still prepping for was it 5K or 4K or whatever it is?
Yeah, so I've got a race actually coming up next month. It's the Abominable Snow Race down in Lake Geneva. So that's going to be fun to get to be battling the winter elements while you also running the course and doing the obstacles. But then I've got a couple in the summer, one in July and one in August.
Okay, gotcha.
And my goal this year is to place in the top 5 in one of the elite heats for at least one of those races, because then I will qualify for the pro division in the obstacle course racing world championships.
Jeez. You're doing a lot of stuff I would never ever want to do.
No, it's okay. It's not for everyone, having 5-6 kids, it's not for everyone. I get it.
Oh yeah, that's a lot on your plate. How's your progress with like doing the recording and keeping up with that been going?
It's going pretty well. I've tried to, post at least something every day. My goal is to do at least 2 or 3 posts a day, doing a mix of, images and videos, quotes and just things that I'm thinking about, or things that reflect what I'm doing, documenting, stuff, whether it's documenting, stuff at home and what the kids are doing, funny stuff that they do, or documenting stuff I'm doing with my business or with the youth group. I'm coming into a season here where I think I'm going to focus a lot on 1 minute or less videos and just try to do a lot of, kind of quick stuff. It seems like, Instagram is really pushing reels right now. So there have been some people that have really been focusing on just putting out a lot of reels each week. And that gets kind of pushed out a lot. And there's a lot of organic reach there. So it's kind of a, take what the defense is giving you, kind of a situation where, like, if I can still be me and still be authentic and work within that framework or the format that is going to give me the best bang for my buck, then I'll try to make some adjustments and go that way. But that's kind of what I'm focusing on right now.
Awesome. And so just out of curiosity, last time we talked was a month and a half ago?
I think it was the beginning of October, actually.
Okay, well, that shows you how good I am with time.
So it's been a couple months, yeah.
Couple months. How's your growth in like followers and that pursuit? How's that been going for you as well?
Yeah, I mean, there's new people liking my stuff all the time, at least on Instagram, which that was a little bit newer for me. I haven't spent a lot of time there. I've obviously got a lot of friends on Facebook because I've been on that platform for a long time. I maybe don't even want to say out loud how many years I've had a Facebook account, but
since the beginning. That's just say it, since the beginning.
Yeah. So that's been good. TikTok has been kind of up and down. It's a little bit harder to get a read on it. My theory is that they want me to be more focused and focus more on a niche or a niche, however people say that. But really what my brand focuses on is being more holistic in all areas of life. So I want to post stuff about fitness and about ministry and about business and, all of that stuff. Like that's kind of like who I am and what I want to be about. So I don't know if I'd almost have to do like a bunch of different TikTok channels if I was really wanting to play into that. So
you're correct.
I haven't been worried about that as much. Just put it out there. And if it's only like, I used to get a few hundred views on stuff on TikTok because the organic reach there is pretty cool. But now I'm getting like single digits on a lot of my videos. It's like, I haven't really changed anything. I'm still just doing what I do. I think if anything, if I would change something, it would just be like just quicker bursts, like 15-second, 30-second videos, and just keep it a little more loose, a little more fun, not try to do as much, not try to communicate as much. And even though like I want to add value to people, it's like the attention span on TikTok is just, really, really quick. Like if you're not like just grabbing somebody in the first 2 seconds, it's like swipe.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I'm maybe at some point I'll try to really focus and hone that. But right now I'm trying to focus on the 59-second content
Mhm.
with my reels. I'll still post probably those videos on TikTok and see what happens with those. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, you're actually totally right. I have a friend who's an influencer. He has like 1.5 million views, or I should say followers, whatever it is, on TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
And he makes a living actually doing TikTok.
Right. Yeah, people can do that.
Yeah. So the interesting thing about him is he was actually telling me, because we were talking about this actually probably about 3 weeks ago or so, and he was like, yeah, like I can't do any sort of content that goes outside of my consistent norm. And he's like, so I need to make sure that all of my videos are the same duration. I make sure that all the videos have a lot of similar tags, like consistent tags that can't be like switching between like, oh, business and then going to family and stuff like that. And he's like, and all this stuff has to relate to a specific type of theme that the whole channel is about. And so his theme is more along the lines of, I'd say, video. It's more like miniature play entertainment. Like he'll go in and he'll do a video of just him walking up on the street, and a girl's like yelling at him, and he's like, whoa, what are you doing? What are you trying to get at me for? What's this about? And then like maybe a quick little punchline or something. And it's just but 30 seconds to do the whole. It's super high octane, super in, that if you follow him, this is what I'm getting. Right. So you're totally on point there. And because we were talking about maybe doing something together, and then he's like, well, I can't do it with my current channel because it would mess up all my algorithms and stuff. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
So good for you. You figured that out.
Yeah, I started out, being pretty diverse, and that didn't seem to be like that. My very first TikTok was one that I made of my daughter, running around and doing stuff before bedtime, and that got plenty of views. And I did like a reflection video, and I did a training update, and it was hundreds of views on all of these. I think a new account is also going to get pushed out probably more than someone who's been around a little longer. That's just my guess.
The algorithm's trying to figure out like where
I started to do. What's that?
The algorithm's trying to figure out where you fit, so it like tests the waters. Yeah.
And I think they also want you to have some early success, so like you're hooked, or you continue to use it. Like, oh, look at all these views that I'm getting as a new creator. But I think you gotta take that time and really establish that you're somebody who's going to create content that people want to see. But after a little while, I started a series on a bunch of habits related to like joint health. So I was doing kind of a lot of like, this is what I do to keep my joints healthy. This is like my warm-up routines or stretches, or and so I had kind of a lot of similar type of video in a row. And now it's like if I deviate from that, it's like then I would post some videos of like my kids playing in the leaves and stuff like that. It's like I was getting 300 views, and now it's like 4. It's so it's like, okay, you don't like my family videos anymore. Like you used to. They used to be okay, but now not anymore. Now you think now you've got me pegged as the how-to fitness health kind of guy.
Gotcha. Yeah.
That's where I'm at.
At least it's a little bit of insight for other people who are thinking about getting into TikTok. Because the algorithm is very strict and ruthless.
Right.
That's cool. So it sounds like you're still at least growing. You're still doing better. Things are progressing. Even if TikTok might not be obviously your platform, you're still getting it on other platforms. It's really cool. So
Yeah.
I'm definitely happy to hear that. It's really good.
Mhm. Yeah, and
Um,
it's been cool in the past month or so to have some of my first leads for like potential clients reaching out to me now.
mm,
So that's always cool to be on the other side of that, where you've got people that like because they now know what you do,
yeah,
because you've notified them and let them know in a very non-threatening way. I think, when you're on, like when you've put yourself out there and you've established yourself, and you have an online presence, which I think a lot of people expect that these days, they can like, okay, I can go to him if I have questions about these kinds of products that he's talked about.
yeah,
So that's been really, really cool to finally see some fruit in that regard. Whereas before, it's like it's all, trying to have, conversations and identify needs and be able to introduce that I'm a business owner, or that I'm able to supply products in that way. Or, another idea would be to like, just make a list and like call people, to let them know, that I have a business and that I would be able to potentially serve them in that way, which not that it doesn't have merit or value. It just kind of puts things in a certain way. Like when somebody's reaching out to me, like now, like there's a lot more confidence. Like, okay, I know there's a need, I know there's interest, and now I can just serve people by answering questions, by providing information, and letting them do what they want with it.
yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So the reason why I don't actually plug in into the social media side of things is because of my financial licenses.
Mm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
I remember that I put up a video once because I know so much about finance, it's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember that I put up a video and I didn't even like I didn't even give an opinion. All I
Mm.
did is I said, here's the definition of an advisor. Here's the definition of an accountant. Here's the definition. I like basically copy pasted off
Yeah.
of a reputable company in a
Mm-hmm.
place that like all the advisors I know go to. And compliance was like, oh, this can be construed as advice. Mother, what?
Wow.
You have to take that down. And I kid you not, it was in less than 24 hours.
Oh man.
So like I'm
Wait, so
so
like, did that come from the social media site, or that come from?
no, so when you have licenses, you have to park them to keep them active. Parking
Okay.
them means that they have to be placed with an institution of some kind.
Okay.
Um, to make it so it's not parking, which is technically an illegal thing, you actually have to do business with that company, and they basically pay for the liability of the licenses.
Okay.
So my licenses are parked with a specific institution, and they have a whole entire team dedicated to just making sure that
Mm-hmm.
that the employees adhere to the compliance standards and rules and efficacy, ethics and stuff. And I'm
Okay.
like, but it's crazy because they're literally so afraid
Hmm.
of everything
Yeah.
that even something that's not actually advice, they're like, oh, it could be construed as advice.
Hmm.
Anything could be construed as advice. I could
Yeah.
post a picture of a calculator and oh, you're trying to provide advice. It's somebody construed it somewhere.
Yeah.
So like because of that, and because I'm in the financial world, I've just been like, you know what, I don't want to be dealing with the tiptoeing, and I can't even say what I want to say. So
Mm-hmm.
all those tactics you mentioned about like, okay, you have to identify the problem, you have to go and do the networking, you have to do the calls. That's actually exactly what I've had to do,
Yeah.
period. And so it's been also a really cool experience because I don't know that I would say I'm a master,
Mm-hmm.
but uh, with the results that I've been able to get, I would definitely say that I've figured out my formula, if you want to say it that
Okay.
way,
That's
within that
good.
space. So, but no, it was just it's so cool because I'm like, yeah, I would love to be able to do that. I just can't. I literally have some like, compliance telling me no, you're not allowed to, and
Oh
unless
man.
yeah, it's insane.
Yeah,
But
that's great. Yeah, there's a couple podcasts that I listen to One is called the Dividend Cafe, and that's by a guy named David Bonson, and he's the head of some investment firm in New York. And so he has a podcast, and so he does commentary on what the market is doing and stuff like that. But at the end of every episode, he has a recorded piece, and it says, "In compliance with the FTC." Then he's got like all these disclaimers and things about how, none of this is advice and that sort of thing. So I guess he's able to comply, and he's able to give opinions and commentary on what the market is doing, and put a podcast out there as long as he's got those disclaimers. And then there's another guy, Ben Greenfield Fitness. So it's a primarily a fitness podcast, and he does covers a lot of different stuff, some really interesting stuff, not like outside of just the typical, here's stuff that you should eat, here's stuff you shouldn't eat, here's different kind of workout programs, stuff like he goes into like very holistic, like into sleep, and into breathing, and into all sorts of alternative forms of medicine, and kind of really off the beaten path in a lot of ways. So it's pretty cool. But he has plenty of affiliate deals that he has with other companies, and he'll have kind of advertising spots. He also owns his own line of supplements and stuff like that, and so like he'll promote that. And so because he's involved, he has to have a similar disclaimer, just kind of letting people know like yeah, like I have this
Yeah.
I do have financial stake in some of the things that I'm saying, and that sort of thing. So he has to also have same kind of disclaimer. So that's something that I need to keep in mind also, since some of my content does trace back to business that I own and products and services that I provide. So I might need to look a little bit more closely just to make sure that I'm in compliance with, I know that Amway has certain things, certain rules about what can and can't be posted on social media. Like for instance, like I found this out after the fact. So like I can have a link to my website, I think, on my social media page, but I don't think I can have a post to the website or like a link to a particular product in one of my posts. And so I have to kind of direct people to, email me, contact me directly, then I can send them whatever, and give them plenty of information that way.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's been a huge deal, but something that I'll have to keep an eye on for sure.
Yeah. It's I mean, obviously if you go independent, if you're solo, you're abiding by different laws. No, I shouldn't say abiding by different laws. It's similar to like federal versus state, right? Federal overarching, like you have to at least abide by federal at bare minimum. And then if you're in a state that decides to go more strict, you have to abide by the state's more strict rules, as long as it all falls underneath federal. So it's a similar process. It's like you're the federal, and then you have the state, and then you have your institution. And the institution has full rights to say sayonara to you if you're not willing to abide by our rules. I just happen to be with one of those institutions that's super clearly like ridiculous. Gotcha. So it wouldn't matter what disclaimers I put, they'd be like, nope, you're done.
And they're the ones that are in charge of your licensing.
So. Yeah, they're the ones that hold the licenses, pay for it, make sure that it's up to date. They all of that stuff. They take all that headache away from me. I think annually it's like $2,700 or so that they pay to keep my licenses active, that type of stuff. So probably actually going to be going independent here though. I think in January. Yeah. So
so will that free you up to be able to do some of that stuff you wanted to do?
Yeah, I'll still have to have that disclaimer like you were mentioning for the investment guy.
Okay. But that'd be a federal FTC.
Correct. Federal. Correct. So I still have to make sure I'm federally compliant, but yeah, as long as I'm federally compliant, then I'm good to go. And I'll be able to finally actually like say my mind and opinion on things and whatnot. So we'll see if that's where everything leads me. But it is going to be a nice freeing feeling. And apparently my licenses will be in a static state for think the federal government just switched it to 5 years now. It used to only be like 2 years, then they put it to 2.5 years, and I think now it's 5 years. So I'm like, okay, that's decent enough. Go out there, so I want to do, have some fun. If I want to jump back in, I can. If I'm just done with it indefinitely, which I like finance, so probably that'll always be probably part of my you know, repertoire, if you want to say it. But yeah, so that's actually a really good topic and really good information, I think, for people to think about if they're coming from those more regulated industries. So I wanted to kind of let you know a few of the cool things that have been happening, and if you had any other questions, this is again the opportunity to, I think, give some value to people again. So I'm gonna just like bullet point, and feel free to choose whatever you want. Okay, so I have decided to join a group of authors, and we already have a book that is going to be published in April, and already have a contract with Barnes and Noble to put it on the shelves. Cool. And we're going to be having a book signing for the first book, because we're actually doing a 3-part series. So by the end of next year, all 3 books will be launched, and it's a conglomerate of several authors, including some celebrity authors, like the guy who made the magnetic strip on the back of the cards. He's on there.
Credit cards?
Yeah, credit cards, like that magnetic strip. He's the one who made it. We also have Mark Zuckerberg's sister. I guess she decided she wants to be part of this book that we're writing. So that's kind of cool. And there are actually some other authors that probably people are even in the book world probably even more familiar with. So that's really, really cool. And then through basic networking tactics and stuff like that, and some of the things I mentioned before, we're actually now going to be working with his name is Jim Lutz, and he's the partner of Jim Britt. And Jim Britt was Tony Robbins' mentor.
Okay.
So I'm actually going to be meeting with Jim Britt this coming week, and meeting him for the first time, getting to introduce myself, and talking about the partnership and how we're going to expand that. And they're looking to allow myself to come into their webinars for some of their products and services that they end up offering. And we're going to come in as a extension or the next steps for their clientele. So that's pretty cool. We just sat down with Old Dominion University, and they're very excited and are already bringing it to their person in charge of the money. And they're interested in giving us 25 students every month to do a program for education for the whole list of things. And it's several experts and myself are going to be going in there and doing the teaching. And
you guys going to be teaching like a semester-long course?
No.
Finance.
So it's not finance. So like week 1 is more along the lines of like your image. Week 2 is basics of like some sales. Week 3 goes into I can't remember what week 3 was, but week 4 then goes into branding. Week 5 is marketing. Week 7 is credit. Week 8 is investing. Week 9 is, I can't remember what week 9 is. And then week 10. Oh, that's right, corporations. And then week 10 is going to be a week where they get introduced to a professional basketball player, because it's within the sports athletics department that all this stuff is happening. And so, yeah, so what we're doing is we're having it so the school pays for the students, and it's going to be $1,000 a student. Wow. So yeah, so that's a really cool development. We're going to UCLA. We have it scheduled for over Christmas break. We're going to do the same pitch to them. And if they're as excited as Old Dominion was when we came in with it, we are going to start hitting all the major D1 colleges, which is really cool.
Yeah. So is it kind of a marketing, branding, business savvy for athletes kind of a course?
Yeah, it's tailored towards athletes. So the idea came from a professional athlete. His name is TJ Cummings.
Okay.
And TJ Cummings uh, ended up having opportunities provided to him, such as like he was featured in the oh man, what's that the artist's name? Not Khalifa, maybe it was Khalifa. The work it and then and reverse it. You notice the song where she says and reverse it, and then they literally took the words and they reversed it. Yeah, it's like sounds weird. I can't remember her name right now, but either way, he was like featured in that film. Was part of this celebrity circles, and even his dad was a NBA player for like 18 years, and just like he had a unique life that he grew up in, and ultimately he still made a bunch of mistakes. And the reason why he made a bunch of mistakes is just he didn't know what he had, and he didn't understand how to take what he had and really build upon it in a way that he could have maintained being like a millionaire, a billionaire, whatever it is, if he wanted to. And a lot of it came down to concepts of investing, concepts of branding, concepts of taxes, all these different things.
Yeah.
So he just was like, what are the different traps? What are the different ways that an athlete could hurt themselves because they're so focused on just being the best at their sport? And what can they even do in college? And we're like, well, now that we have the new laws that were just placed, which allows athletes to actually get paid now for their image and branding.
While they're still in college,
while they're still in college, and also the fact that they're able to do Instagram and all these different things as well. This is the time that they need to learn those skills, so that if they make it to the pros, they're able to amplify it. If they don't make it to the pros, they still have something after college that is monetized and they can grow with. So Old Dominion was like
That's
super
so cool.
excited. Yeah, so we have experts coming in each of those fields, branding experts, CPAs. I'm actually not, funny enough, I'm actually not representing the investment side of things. I'm handling some other content instead, but some other advisors, mutual fund managers, etc. And so it's hyper specialized and very focused on athletes.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's really cool. And I've come to learn and realize more recently is that even among professional athletes, you still have owner mentality versus employee mentality that shows up there. I mean, just so many guys think if I just make it to the league or to the show or or whatever, like then I'm good, then I'm set. But the guys like Jordan, Kobe, LeBron, like even with the Ball family, is as much controversy as there is with them. It's like they understand like it's not just about receiving a paycheck, even if it's a bigger paycheck from a franchise. It's how do I own something? Because once the game is done, like you're done. Like if you have a career-ending injury, it's like, well, there's your income. And like, well, now what? What do you have?
Exactly.
And so it's not just about the talent. I mean, you could be an amazing talent, but you have like no presence. Like you don't understand. Like it's not a sports business. It's an entertainment business.
It is, yes.
And being able to give some connection to the fans. It's like, it's not just, people don't just care about how well you can throw a ball or run or jump or whatever. It's like they want to connect with you on a personal level. And obviously when you're a celebrity, you can only connect on a personal level with so many people, but social media gives people that opportunity to let the fans in and let them have more connection to them as a person.
Exactly.
Which I think is what people maybe don't realize, but a lot of people really crave that. They value that. That's like there's so much more value that can be added to people than just showing up to practice and doing a good job there and showing up on the field or on the court and doing well there. There's so much connection that can happen. And I think there's a lot of these principles that can be applied to people who have other skills and other hobbies than just sports. I mean, you just look at the things that get that go viral on YouTube or whatever. Like some of the stuff is like, it's so far outside the norm of what people like what, the millions and millions of people tune in to watch on broadcast TV. Some people, it's like farming, like it's just, they're these tractor videos, or people just showing what they're like, blacksmithing, or just, it's like, again, it's like these niches, but like people can carve out a following, an audience within whatever their thing is. Like they don't have to be as good at basketball as LeBron James or whatever. Exactly. It's like there's all these like really cool and interesting things that everybody does. And I think a lot of people just don't realize how interesting their thing is to other people until they actually start documenting it, posting it, bringing their personality into it. And, I think the formula is there for lots of different kinds of people, not just athletes.
Yeah, it really is. And, you bring up a really great point, is that if you found it something interesting, you're not the only one.
Exactly.
You're not the only one, period. Somebody else at some point in time has or will or already is interested in that very same thing. And, if you are able to, and you don't even have to be the expert, you can just document your learning process.
Exactly. Yes.
You could document you being the idiot, the fool, and how you go into just a regular intermediate.
Right.
And no matter what, like, that's all still interesting. Because I know for me, like, I have fun like looking at people who are in the beginning stages. I enjoy like seeing like how are you about to solve this problem? I'm not really going to learn much from you, but it's fun for me because it's almost like reminiscing. It's almost like, oh, that's so cute, I remember when I did that. And you get to watch him make some mistakes. You're like, oh, you're about to fall on that one. I want to watch.
It's like watching an episode of Wipeout.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's like, oh man, how is this person going to handle that?
Yeah, exactly.
And like, I'm probably never going to be on that course. I'm probably never going to have to do that myself, but there's still that entertainment value.
Yeah. And, everybody's brains works differently. So the same thing that you solved more easily, maybe their brain works differently and they come up with a different solution or whatever. It still is interesting. And, we're social creatures and we learn from each other. We watch, we observe. That's how we grow.
Yeah.
So that's why social media is so amazing and so cool, and also so destructive.
Yeah.
But and I think also for like celebrities, right? Especially like maybe kid celebrities or people who are just on the come up and they're not quite sure how to handle it. People don't realize how PR is so important. And like, if you do anything that's newsworthy, you better make sure the news is on your side of that worthiness. And how do you handle those guys who are intentionally trying to come and draw out negativity from you? How do you make sure to always bring out positivity? How do you remain humble while still being confident? Like, those are all intricate delicacies of the framework that you need to know just for one moment of maybe your whole entire month, but could actually make or break you. So just there's so many things to learn, so many, especially when you're trying to go to the top of the heap, right? So that's a huge, like, what you just said is why I'm super actually excited to be part of that progress and that program. And just in case you want to check it out too, it's Rise to Succeed, RISE, the number 2, and then Succeed. And they have like a Facebook group, and they have a current website that actually goes to my page, so it's a redirect. But they actually they have a class that is going to be starting in January and all sorts of stuff. So really cool stuff going on there. So let's see what else. We have all of our pieces finally done. So we have all of our items and everything else solidified. And now I'm just putting it together in like packages. So I have like 460 products and services that I can service to any small business at basically any phase that they're in. Let's see, where else do we have here? See, I talked about the school, talked about the site. Oh, we have 17 potential salespeople on Saturday, and they're all commission. They're all interested in commission work. We have a sales trainer now, and I have a full back admin component. Like basically the majority of our structure is at a functional level now, where we can truly like take on and service and handle growth and really bring about some extreme value to any of our clients now. So like we're really excited for that. And it's just been a really long process of a bunch of networking, a bunch of calls, a bunch of giving, a bunch of stuff away. And it's cool because our overhead only increased by maybe like 400, 500 bucks a month to incorporate all this extra stuff. Yeah. So we're still underneath the four grand a month operations, and we're good. Oh, plus we also have 2 websites that are being launched.
That's always fun.
Yeah, so we have a website that's being launched for the media side of things, and we have another website that's going to be for our collective members for the like an internal marketplace that is not available to the public. So we have that, and that's on the way. We're also getting into NFTs. We're also getting into metaverse. Okay.
What are you guys doing with NFTs?
So what we're going to be doing with NFTs is two parts. One group that I'm working with, we're going to actually make it so that we just set up a business that helps other businesses set up the NFT. It still is. I'm going to have to let you go if you keep on talking. Here, give me a second. I'm going to put her on the other side of the room. Give me just a second.
No worries.
Sorry about that.
No worries.
Yeah. So, anyways, as far as NFTs are concerned, one's going to be helping businesses set up the NFTs. For a lot of people, it's still just so obscure. They don't quite know what's going on. They don't understand the opportunities. And although it doesn't take much to learn how to do it per se, you have to have a lot of prior knowledge, just even like how to get your cash into one of those cryptocurrencies. And then knowing about smart contracts, and then knowing about how to actually like do the coding if you want to incorporate coding for special parameters for your NFT. Like there's a lot of stuff that makes it complicated for each step versus the step itself is easy. So it's kind of weird and backwards in that way. So creating a company will be able to actually help do that, number one. Second is we are once we have our first 60 businesses, what we're going to do is we're going to actually take some of that money and reinvest it back into them. And we're going to set up a series of NFTs that are able to showcase their businesses. And it's actually going to be like a deck of cards. And the deck of cards is going to be able to be looking all nice and clean and everything else. And we're going to NFT each individual card. We're actually going to do it twice. There's a way to do it twice. and then we're going to give one copy to the business, and we're going to do a pair of it. So like to be the actual true owner of the NFT,
Right.
you actually have to own the pair.
Oh, okay.
We'll put the other part of the pair out into the regular market, and then
To be bought
hopefully,
by somebody who might want it.
yeah. And then when they go like, oh man, there's a pair of this, I don't have the pair. Hopefully, it drives up the value of the businesses, one that they are holding on to,
Oh,
and then, you know, if they want to exchange it, sweet. If you don't, if you want to just hold on to it forever, you're going to have a very angry person on the other side that really wants your pair. And they're probably going to have to come up with a higher price to get it, right? So just kind of like create a supply and demand there, and make it so there's literally only one, just one NFT of each one of those. So not multiple copies or anything. And then we're going to obviously sell the deck of cards as well to help promote the NFT, as well as help promote businesses, as well as maybe make some money, create some new relationships. And yeah, so we actually already have the deck of cards. There's an artist that's actually creating the concept art for it right now.
oh wow.
And also he used to do like card tricks and stuff like that. So he has a background in doing that stuff. So he knows about materials and all stuff, because we really want to make it a really good deck of cards, like one that a magician would want to have in his collection as well. So we're trying to appeal to a slightly larger audience through that medium. And that's how we're planning to use the NFT. There's a couple of other methods that we're going to use it as well for when we grow. We're going to start doing some special events and stuff like that. And the only way to get to the special event is you have to have an NFT ticket to get in. So pay for your ticket, get your NFT, proof of your NFT when you get there, so that no one can like, so we know that there's a finite number of people. And if you want to gift your ticket, you can, but then you have to give that NFT to the other person, and you know, only one person comes in. So just a way to also regulate and track like what's going on. So yeah, that's our couple of ways that we're planning on incorporating that. As far as the metaverse is concerned, we're also looking into that space as well. Probably going to set up our own. So there's another artist. She has some really cool concepts as far as like architecture goes. And instead of building the architecture as a real live house, why not just build it as a 3D model inside of the metaverse?
Yeah.
And then be able to go in there with your avatars and just host meetings, see the NFTs that are on the wall, and just do something like that is probably what we're going to use that for.
Interesting. So if someone is a business and they're like, NFTs, okay, I have a vague notion of what that is. I realize there's all these tricky steps to, not necessarily tricky, but maybe time consuming steps to get into that. Like, why would somebody as a business who's not like I'm not an artist, I'm looking to like create art and sell it like a traditional artist. Like, I mean, people can maybe understand and see the value of why somebody like that would be into NFTs, but why as a business, like what's the payoff for me if I go through that hassle to get into the NFT game?
Are you coming from the perspective of like a buyer and then reseller? Or are you coming from the perspective of an actual creator, like creating of the NFT? Which one?
Well, if just well, probably as a creator, but if I'm a business, why would I want to be putting out NFTs associated with my business?
Gotcha. So if your business is in a state where you are looking to create just more traction, there's nothing wrong with getting on a wave. I'll say that first. And the fact is that there's such a huge demand right now for NFTs because people don't know what it is yet, really. And how you can use this for your business is a hybrid of like a way to generate some extra income, way to be able to provide like elements of a personality. It's a way to be able to connect the physical space with the digital space. I mean, like, imagine if you could, as a business in the metaverse, let's say, you would end up recreating your business's internal model, right? And you have a link, let's say on Google, when someone types it in. It's no longer looking at a photo. It's, hey, you now can go and take a look at our, walk around, see what it's like. And not only that, but you can also put ads, and you can NFT the ads, which means that you can track and see how many people are there. You can track and see, like, if anybody wants to purchase from there, purchase from the ads. You can limit the amount of times that someone can actually purchase the NFT. They have to bring in their NFT as their official coupon. And not only is that this official coupon, they get to keep it as proof that they in fact were a customer of that thing. Like, it's ownership. It's almost like this. You know the saying that you weren't there unless you took a picture?
Yeah.
You can use that as the same way, is you didn't actually get a ticket unless you have your NFT.
Mm-hmm.
It's
So
getting
it's kind of like, in the same way somebody might like to keep a ticket stub to a concert they went to for the sake of that memory, they get, when they buy it, so when they buy a ticket, they have an NFT that goes along with that, which has a little bit more aesthetic to it than just a ticket stub. And they can store it digitally. It's not just in a box. It's going to be in your basement, and then you go through the old memories and pull it out. It's like, so it's sharp, it's nice, and it's where other people will get to see it.
exactly. And imagine, so just imagine if, let's say, Starbucks, when it first started,
Mm-hmm.
imagine if that company had launched an NFT for the first 100 customers that came in for any one of their promotions for that year, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you go and say, oh yeah, go to your friend, oh yeah, I've been to the official Starbucks, I've been there before. Really? Did you get the NFT? When? What NFT? What are you talking about? Well, they handed out an NFT to literally every single person that went through there. So I'm now saying I'm gonna have to call some BS here, right?
Yeah.
and you know, that helps you to be able to like provide that proof of that you were there. Like, all those tickets for Elvis Presley's concert, all of a sudden, like, everyone's like, dude, I want a copy of that NFT.
So like, I was at that concert where this happened, or I was at that football game where that happened, and
Yes.
and there's the NFT to prove it. And it looks
Yeah.
pretty slick if you do it right, and you have some good artistic value to it as well.
Yeah, which means that each event can have a completely totally different theme as extra proof visually of the fact that you were there. So it becomes a proof of your credibility. It becomes a way to track the validity. It becomes a way to expand ways to so let's say, like, one of your NFTs to Elvis's concert now are selling for $6,000, and the original ticket price for that NFT was just $60.
Right.
I can build into that NFT of that ticket a commission that every single time that ticket gets sold, I get a kickback. So by the time it gets up to the value of $6,000, I might have myself made another $80, $120, and just keeps on paying back on itself. And if I happen to have even one thing that becomes like a Banksy picture or whatever, right? That NFT can pay back some, it's just crazy dividends on top of the physical.
So there's ways for you as the creator to maintain a piece of ownership,
yes,
on that thing that everybody else is buying and selling or trading it for, because they want a piece of ownership as well.
Yeah. Now that's the basics. Here's the crazy thing about it. An NFT is just a bunch of code that has a bunch of rules.
Right.
If someone just thinks of a unique way to handle the NFT, all they need is a coder or the capability to code it into the NFT. And now this thing can become whatever the hell you want it to. sky's the limit because it's code.
Mm-hmm.
Just like people were like, what, you're going to be able to have a website and the whole website's going to be dedicated and you can play videos on it? That's never going to happen. Yeah, right. Now I literally can send you a link and you can book it into my calendar and I don't even have to see it happen. Like, all these things are becoming so automated and connected, and it's crazy. And we haven't even scratched the surface yet in terms of where we can go in technology, AI interfaces, the Oculus and where that's going, the chips and their computing power capabilities. We're not even close. Like, technology is where the frontier is. So, this is where we're getting at. And if you're like, well, why is it that I wouldn't do this with some other fashion? It comes down to the blockchain.
Right.
The blockchain is the security feature. Literally nobody can get in there. Like, it's like a secret island in the middle of nowhere that there's no map, there's no coordinates, there's no way to get to there except for the fact that you built your own little island. And you're the only one who knows and has the key to get to the island. Like,
right.
And there's a special tunnel with special clearance, with special, like, it's just like special through the whole entire process. Good luck. Like, you're not going to find my evil cave. Yeah. And that can also simultaneously hold all of that data and maintain it. So like no one can come in and alter your NFT.
Right.
They can't steal the data. They can't copy the code. They can't do like about those guys, I think it was like 20 years ago or so. They built a program that mined all of the half cents off of every transaction in the banking institutions.
A half cent.
Yeah. So like, how how you have 33.33333 continuous percent, right? Well, the computers, what they normally do is they'll either estimate up or estimate down. Well, since we know that money is technically just a bunch of digital zeros, what happens to that remaining 0.66 cents? Okay. All they did is they data mined all these transactions off the banks and captured all those half cents.
Gotcha.
And they made millions. And then, and then of course, governments came after them, and then they had to shut the whole operation down.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing here is that we're now also moving to where currency is dealing with fractional numbers.
Right. Like 0.00004 of a Bitcoin.
Exactly. And this is valuable because this means that we're actually optimizing every single one of our monetary transactions now too, which is really, really cool. But with the NFT, it's also making it and guaranteeing it that I get every single fractional piece that is mine.
Okay.
No one can come in there and try and hack it like those guys did to the banking system, right? Because it was an open system closed. Really, it was open. Like, there's always a backdoor. Your blockchains are so encrypted at it like, no. You have your own individual wallet. This own individual wallet there's nobody who knows that information.
Right.
You can't go in there and decrypt your wallet. Like, it's just,
right.
That's why when you lose your password, like, goodbye all of your money. So how are they getting in there? Once you NFT it, there's really no reason for like passwords and stuff like that. It's just automatically connected and linked. So you also get rid of the password need. It's just, yeah, it's crazy. It's very, very cool too.
Interesting. Yeah, it's one of those things that I've learned enough to like, okay, I've got the basic idea of it, but there's just, it's a wormhole to go down for sure.
Yeah. And we're still in the Wild West of it. There's so many different ways that people are planning on using NFTs that I can't even probably fathom. Right. And I know that NFTs answer a lot of problems for security. Security is one of the largest industries.
Does that have to be NFTs specifically, or just the blockchain in general?
So it's more about the connection of the ID of the NFT to the blockchain.
Okay.
It's because they're technically separate,
Right.
but it's
I
a
mean,
connection to the two.
like the blockchain is the technology that the NFT relies on to work or do what you want it to do, right?
No, the blockchain is what secures the data so that
Right.
nobody
That,
can
and
access the data.
that's what I meant. Like the blockchain is what helps provide the value so that, you know, like this is a unique thing. There isn't a copy of it somewhere else, or like this can't be hacked, this can't be altered. The blockchain is what proves this is mine and not somebody else's.
The blockchain is the security, which
Yeah.
prevents the hacking. The
Right.
NFT is this is what proves it's mine. It's the ID. It's just like you have an ID card at work. You know, you have to scan your ID. The card itself is not what actually holds the security feature. It's the interaction of your ID with the security feature that creates the full security checkpoint that confirms you are who you are. The
Right.
NFT is more of the card. The blockchain is the security feature.
Okay.
And my data is stored inside of the security feature. But in your security programs that are built into these different places with your card and swiping, you can hack into all that stuff because of how the data is stored.
Okay.
The data is stored in such an encrypted manner with your blockchain that the security becomes way tighter than, I mean, probably tighter than even Pentagon level security at this point.
Right.
With how encrypted things have gotten.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't doubt if it's at that level already. Your NFT is the proof and the ID of your image that then interacts and is stored with the rules. So the data code that no longer can be hacked is then stored inside of the blockchain. No one can access the blockchain. No one can access your code because it's stored there. But the NFT itself is your ID swipe card, if that makes sense.
I think so.
Okay. I'm like, they're still separate because your blockchain also has functionality for transfer of like currencies. Well, those are not NFTs.
Right.
So that's why I'm saying like there's a difference.
Oh yeah. I know the blockchain doesn't relate to NFTs, but in my understanding was like this is the network that a lot of like, you know, that your cryptocurrencies or your smart contracts or, you know, NFTs, like there's it's almost like you have a belt that which is the blockchain. You've got all these different things that can hang off of that.
Yes. Yeah.
NFTs being one.
Yes. NFT being one of those things. Yeah. Correct. Yeah. And they're stored in the security belt. Yeah. Yeah. So from a security protocol stance, I mean, once we figure it out, I don't doubt that the government's going to use it for the sake of warfare.
Really?
Protecting data at that encrypted level means that launch codes, sequences, time frames, flight plans, I mean, all of it. It's going to become more separated and segregated, and only the person who has the code to be able to log in to the blockchain will be able to see the data. And most of those transactions are now going to be able to, you don't have to have a signature anymore. It's just going to be here's my NFT, scan it. Your thing interacts with the NFT, confirms it based upon the blockchain, gets a confirmation this is in fact authentic NFT. The NFT, in terms of its authenticity, confirms that in fact your shipment is actually in line with the transport and log information and was not hacked. So we don't have any espionage going on with our transaction. Also, no one had the data as far as it's going in or out because it was a closed system within that NFT.
Okay.
So all I need to do is proof this one individual NFT. Once it's proofed, it's gone. No longer needs to be available anymore because we've completed our NFT transaction. And then here's your shipment. Okay. And then each individual box will have its own NFT. Each individual item will have its own NFT. Like you can do that for every single piece, every single barcode in essence, and confirm their authenticity.
So these So when you have NFTs that are connected to physical objects in the real world, how do you keep those things linked? Like if the physical object gets stolen or broken or destroyed, or what happens to the NFT?
Well, obviously the NFT is code, so technically the NFT would still stay in place. It
Right.
becomes a record,
Mhm.
and that also actually makes it though easier for us to be able to see what items are no longer there,
Okay.
right? So it becomes better for inventory purposes too. Um, we
As
be,
long as it gets properly recorded in the real world by a real person.
yeah, and the other thing too is that like right now, the government. So like, if you're, let's say, working on an air base and you're just a regular good old fashioned army personnel, and you are told by the government that yeah, you have to do all these specific ins and outs and stuff for this inventory. It happens all the time that
Mhm.
like some shipment comes in, it looks sketchy as heck, and all of a sudden the guy comes up and says, yeah, we don't have to actually sign that, and they like give some sort of other thing where they say, I'm just going to sign my signature and send that to your officer, whatever it is, and he'll confirm that it's good. And this never happened. You didn't see any, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, the reason why they do that is because it's sensitive information.
Hmm.
If they log it, they have a problem. If
Hmm.
anybody else intercepts it, this also means it's a lot of tons of money. I mean, probably millions, billions of dollars. I have no idea. I mean, we don't know how many times this happens in a regular day or what the cargo is to even have an estimate. So this would be a way though that for tracking purposes, we could actually get a budget then, and it could be NFTs based upon like stuff that didn't happen, but nobody can still access the information for the logs, but we still have logs to confirm that it actually happened. It's just scan the NFT. This also makes it so that these sketchy events seem less sketchy because every single transaction is now completely fully encrypted. You don't even need a signature. The NFT itself is proof. So like,
You're saying it would provide a body like Congress to be able to provide better financial oversight to the defense or
yeah,
to the military without being privy to sensitive information that needs to stay more under wraps.
yeah, it would also make it too so that we don't have moments like that where stories or things like that can get leaked.
Hmm.
And
And people just run wild rumors.
exactly, which, you know, I that's not a wild rumor, but yes. The fact is that that type of stuff happens all the time.
I mean, like it's sketchy. They don't know exactly what it is, but it's sketchy,
Yeah,
and they fill in the details with that they don't know with all sorts of wild rumors.
yeah, or they're told that like they're not allowed to say anything, so their lips are tied, and we don't know where the heck these millions of dollars went. Well, then what does Congress do? Congress or somebody somewhere writes it off as something that it wasn't actually allocated to. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it just ends up on a ledger system somewhere,
Okay.
but we don't know where, how, what, and why, and it's super questionable. You're like, wait a minute, I know for a fact that this did not come in here. I know for a fact it didn't leave. I know
Yeah.
for a fact that if I count my boxes, something's wrong, but I know that the general just came in and signed off that this is right.
Oh, okay.
Huh? You know, and now we can just be like, yeah, just scan my NFT. Sweet, confirmed. No questions asked. I have no problems. It's authentic. So the only way then at that point to do the espionage is it has to actually be a person who basically kills a person to then take their NFT, assuming they know the password, which by the way can be re-encrypted over and over again.
Hmm.
So you can, oh man, from a security stance, it can go crazy, crazy.
So this would have more to do um, with defense and just kind of protecting
Mm-hmm.
information than really would be having to do with offense, because it seems like this is a system that doesn't really allow you to hack into or go on the offensive and steal information, but it's a way to protect your information.
Yeah, it's a way to protect information, correct.
Okay.
And also incite rules of engagement with the data or with the NFT.
Gotcha.
So from an offensive and defensive standpoint, we're trying to still figure it out, but there's a ton of application yet to
Yeah.
utilize for it. Yeah, so I didn't know I was going to be talking about NFTs.
So how do I, as a physical person, connect to my wallet that exists in the digital realm? Like how do what's that barrier look like? That I authenticate that I am the owner of this wallet when I interact with it, whether it's via a computer or a phone. You said a password, but if I forget my password, then I like the identity that I have in the blockchain is now like I've now lost that forever.
Yeah, I have a old wallet from when cryptocurrencies just started out.
Mm-hmm.
It holds on. Currently, it has probably somewhere around like maybe $6,000 or $7,000 worth of Ripple.
Okay.
I forgot my password.
Oh no.
I've been trying to figure out what the heck that password is now for like 4 years. And yeah,
But so the
I'm
only
not
way
getting that
for
back.
someone, so there is a way for somebody to steal my wallet is if they figure out my password.
Yes.
Okay.
So you still have to have the password encryption plus, of course, your ID or whatever it is. You have to have all that information, which is why it's so important to make sure your passwords for those things are highly encryptic,
Okay.
but also have it stored somewhere so that you know it is. Now, here's the other thing too, is that a lot of these wallets are now performing extra security procedures as well. So like they're going to give you a whole series of random words that in case you lose your password, to a regular hacker, it's going to be hard to be like, I'm going to identify random words in a random sequence and search your entire log for it, because it's not a password type of thing.
Okay.
So that's a lot harder of an algorithm to create, to mine for your safety. But if you lost your safety, password sequence, which is a newer thing that they started doing, I think probably like the past year and a half, 2 years or so. And if you lost your password, like you're gone. There's good luck.
Which is the price you pay for security. You got to
It
be
is.
on top of your stuff.
Yeah, if you forget your keys, man, you're locked out of your house.
Right.
And if you got steel windows, your hand's not going to cut it. Yeah, exactly. But if your house is made of steel, you can't burn it down either. So, I mean, you're going to be sitting there with your coffee, just staring at your steel house going, man, I really wish I knew where my keys were.
Gotcha.
Yeah, man. Every time I think about that, I'm like, one day I'll remember it. One day I'll figure it out. And by that point in time, hopefully Ripple still is there. And
Yeah.
maybe it's worth like $1 million. Maybe this is God just being like, no, you're not allowed to mess with it. This is mine.
Yeah.
You have to hold on. Just sit tight. Who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah, does it help, I guess, with those questions?
I think that there's some good stuff there, and I think it's at a level that even someone who maybe doesn't really know very much about NFTs at all might be able to listen to that and maybe spark some inspiration of what they might consider doing with that as an individual or as a business. So I think that was pretty cool. I do got to get rolling, but it was great hearing about what you're doing. I really like the Rise to Succeed thing that you're doing with athletes. I think helping them understand like it's more about just the game. If you really want to, if a lot of people think like to be Michael Jordan, they just got to be able to play basketball like Michael Jordan, but there's more to it than that.
Yeah.
And there's just so many things that will help set them up well for life, especially these college kids. Like a lot of them won't make it to the pros, but if they can still have a way to take some of the value they added to people who are watching them play college ball and might still be interested in following what they're doing, whatever that next step is. I think that there's really, really cool opportunity for them if they can grab onto those things. So I think what you guys are doing is really, really cool.
Yeah, awesome. Appreciate it. And obviously, if anybody wants to learn more about it, you can reach out to me.
Yeah.
You can reach out to risesc.com, take a look at some of
Yeah.
that stuff. You can also, now that in January I'm not going to be with the company anymore, I'm probably going to
Yeah.
start actually putting out some more information and
Mhm.
just some content also around that to get people excited.
Yeah.
um
I think that's going to be really cool
yeah,
for you, just to build your credibility as you try to teach people what to do with their brand. Like, you'll be free to like do it yourself and like
yeah,
create something of a template on your own social media platforms that they can kind of go and check it out. So I think that's going to be really cool too.
yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be, obviously I have to start from scratch basically, so it's going to take some time just
Yeah.
like everybody else did, but I'm
But you get to
hoping.
document the journey, and you get to kind of show them like
Yes.
and you get to like show them like if they're starting at zero, like this is what it looked like.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, and I could do it faster, so yeah, why not? um i I think that it will be an interesting ride for sure and will be fun. And I do want to say also, the book co-author
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
There's actually a few slots left to be a co-author with Les Brown. I don't know if you know who Les Brown is.
Okay.
He's pretty famous. Yeah, so he's one of the world's most renowned motivational speakers, a dynamic personality, highly sought after resource in business and professional growth and development. Um, and he is, yeah, he's been all over. Um, Fortune, yeah, he's like helped out a bunch of Fortune 500 CEOs, small business owners, nonprofits, and some of his clients are like McDonald's, Disney, AT&T, Amway is one of his clients.
That's cool.
So if anybody wants to write a chapter and technically be able to say they were co-author with Les Brown, um, reach out to me as well. And
Okay.
as I am helping to push that book, and would love
Does
to
it
be
have a
able
title
to.
yet?
Yes, actually. And there was just a revamp that was done a couple days ago. So there's like a new title, there's a new cover. Let me pull that up. And actually I should be able to send it to you so you can kind of see it. It's called The Change.
The change what?
It's just called The Change.
Oh, the
But
change.
yeah, yeah. So just they can reach out to me and I can connect them and get them situated. And they'll actually have their picture also featured on the front of the book.
Okay.
And we have a few more authors that are needed. Obviously, you can see there that currently there is Les Brown, who's part of it. And then we also have, come on, what are you doing? We also have Katerina Kozias as well. So we've got some pretty cool, powerful people on this.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Yeah. All right. I know that you got to get going. I won't take any more of your time.
No, it was fun.
It's always fun.
Yeah.
And obviously, keep me updated. I'm excited to hear your progress.
All righty. Well, sounds good. I'm looking forward to seeing you pop up on the social media platforms as well, and seeing what kind of content you crank out.
Oh man, I have so much to say.
That's great. That's great. Looking forward to it.
All right. I'll talk to you later, Mark.
All right. Have a good one.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.